Hi, my name is Barbara Bass, and I am here again. I just wanted to ask you a question. Are you an offender of God? The other day, I was talking to somebody, and I kind of like got in an argument with them, and I basically had to let them know, like, hey, you are an offender of God. Like, you have offended God in so many ways, and I hate to just say it flat out and straight out, but that's why your life is the way that it is. And you be offending God in ways that are very offensive. You claim you read the whole Bible, you claim you know this and that, but then you be doing stuff that's like, no. And one of those things is like a clear sign to me that someone is an offender of God is wearing the Ankh symbol. I feel like, achoo, like, ugh. I am allergic to that symbol. Like, I hate seeing that symbol. I'm like traumatized by that Imhotep symbol. I cannot stand it. Like, I feel like God be wanting me to say, you know, you people are not the Egyptians. Like, especially like people whose ancestors were slaves and they from here, like from like generations and generations. You are not an Egyptian. You are not an Egyptian. Back then, God defeated them Egyptians. I don't understand why you want to be an Egyptian so bad when God wasn't even liking them like that back then. Like, how do you want to be something that God was even against? Like, they came against. The main story in the Bible is about Exodus. Bob Marley got a song about it. Like, come on, this is about God freeing us from that. Why are y'all running back to that? And like, there's a part in the Bible where Moses was asking God, like, how do you know the difference? How will we know? How can you tell the difference between those people, the Egyptians, and your children, the Israelites? Like, how can you tell the difference? It's so easy to tell the difference nowadays because it's so blatant. People are wearing that like that nasty symbol. I cannot stand it. People just be wearing it. Like, I'm like, do you know what that symbol means? That Ankh symbol? Like, that's the symbol that clearly shows which side you're on. Like, the cross shows that you're a child of God, and the Ankh shows that you're rejecting God. You're with the Egyptians, the people who God destroyed. Okay? So, anyway, I'm just allergic to that symbol. I can't stand it, and I just want to talk about it. Like, I'm not going to say that I never wore it. I wore the symbol before, but it was when I was like having an awakening, and I was just trying to figure out what, about African spirituality, what it was or whatever. But now that I know that it's also a false doctrine that was made by demons that fell, like Orishas and Ifa and just all these different, the Egyptians and all their little gods and goddesses and stuff. These deities are just fallen angels. So no, I will not be praying to them, and I'm going to be telling everyone and yelling at the top of the mountaintops, rooftops, whatever you want to call it, do not fall victim. I've already done so many videos, well, not so many videos, but videos on how don't get caught up. So first of all, God, help your children realize they are in fact your children and not the Egyptians who you freed us from. We are not them. We are the ones that you freed from them. Help them to realize how evil the enemy and their symbols are and stop wearing them. Alright, so I'm not saying like the Egyptians that live over there today are evil. A lot of those Egyptians do believe in Jesus and are Christians. But what I'm saying is, back in the day, and the Egyptians that people are trying today, that Ankh symbol that they're wearing, they're trying to emulate. Like, if you look up demonic symbols, the Ankh symbol is in there. You are an offender of God. Stop wearing that. And if you tattooed it, go get it taken off or something. I don't know. But anyway, it's a clear symbol. Like how I said, you don't, as a Christian, you don't have to be judgmental. God already puts it within you how to recognize certain people from his people from other people. And in the Bible, I remember when I was younger, a lot of people hated me for saying that certain people just not supposed to mix. But even in the Bible, God be telling his children, like, don't mix with this group of people. So if God is saying that, how was I wrong? And I knew that before I even read the Bible. I knew that just inside of me, I knew. But anyway, let's look at Exodus 11 and 7. Alright, so it says, but not a dog shall growl against any of the people of Israel, either man or beast, that you may know that the Lord makes a distinction between Egypt and Israel. The Lord makes a distinction between the two. And it wasn't just back then, it's now too. God can see you offending him and being on the other side with the people who he destroyed. You're going way back and wanting to be a part of their culture, and it's like, I defeated them. I'm your creator, but you over here want to be on their side? How that makes sense? How you think God is looking at you? You're offensive. You're offensive. If you are wearing the symbols of my opponent, the enemy, the opposite, why would I like you? And you know what's so crazy? The plagues that happened in this part of the Bible, where the Egyptians was trying to basically mock God and do all the wonders and miracles and signs and stuff, symbols that God was doing, they was trying to copy. A lot of those things that they did and the plagues that God sent, he's still sending those type of plagues still be on those same people. Like today, those same people who be trying to act like they Egyptian, a lot of them be having like the same issues that was sent on the plague from way back then when God had destroyed, like something like back then, God had destroyed all the Egyptians' firstborn son, I think the firstborn child or the firstborn son. And you'll notice that a lot of people who's into that Egyptian stuff, something be wrong with the firstborn child, like some kind of curse or something on them. And then like just issues with their health, especially dealing with their blood, because the blood during this part of the Bible, blood was so symbolic. So a lot of them have like blood issues, like just no, do not be an offender of God. You will start having health issues, like for real. But it says right here, because, and that's another video I'm gonna do tomorrow about that, about people. Yeah, I'm not even gonna say it because I'll see one of you knuckleheads make a video on it, so I'll just talk about it tomorrow. But anyway, yeah, the Lord makes a distinction between Egypt and Israel, not because of anything good in Israel or anything bad in Egypt. Rather, this distinction is based on the Lord's complete rule over all nations and his covenant promises to Abraham. And that's what I was trying to let you know. Egyptians themselves, back then, all of them were not evil. A lot of them was trying to spare the Hebrews. A lot of them wanted to help the Hebrews. Like when the Pharaoh had said, to take away all the firstborn, a lot of Egyptian women was like, we're not finna do that, and they was doing like sneaky stuff. That's how Moses ended up living. He got sent down a river. He ended up living, but he was an Israelite, raised as an Egyptian. But anyway, the people of Israel, they're called to act obediently so that the Lord will pass over them during the 10th plague. So remember I told you it was like 10 plagues or whatever. So during the last one, that's when God said, all right, put that blood on that dough. And so the people who put the lamb's blood, who put, that was symbolic. That's what I'm saying. The blood was so symbolic during this part of the Bible. And we know that blood is symbolic because there's also a part in the Bible where God realizes that with Cain and Abel, the two brothers, when Cain killed Abel, God told Cain, your brother Abel's blood is crying out to me. So if blood can cry out to God, we know that blood is very symbolic. It's very like God he pays attention to that type of thing. So that's what I'm saying. The fact that they had to put that lamb blood over their door frames, that is what kept the angel of death from killing their firstborn. So it was called Passover because the angel of death would pass over their door if they had the lamb's blood. And the lamb's blood is clean. The goat's blood is not. And we'll get into that, why that's disgusting too. But anyway, on another video. But I just thought about something. Yeah. These people that offend God, I ain't gonna say that. We'll talk about it another time. But yeah, sorry, I'm just thinking about stuff of like people I know that are like, especially like Imhotep people and just people in the conscious community, like things that I know that they had going on. Like I used to have a lot of clientele and they would call me and tell me their personal business that I can't share, but I'm like, Now looking back on it, I'm like, those people in that community had so many issues because they are offenders of God, their creator, our creator, because there's only one creator. So you got to be very careful. That's why when they say, a lot of those people in the conscious community, they'll say that they already read the Bible. So if you already read the Bible, how did you pass over Exodus? Anyway, um so that was Exodus 11:7 that I had read to you. And God was basically asked how to tell the difference between the Israelites and the Egyptians. So there is a difference between us even to this day. And you'll notice that a lot of the people who wear the Ankh symbol or whatever, or just wear symbols that offend God, they might believe in a certain deity or God or goddess, but they don't believe in Jesus. Okay, that's a clear sign that they're not God's. They don't belong to our side. They're on the other side. Okay. When people don't believe in Jesus, that's a clear sign that you're not it. Okay, you're not Jesus child. I don't know how you're getting in the gate. Remember, the last thing we talked about was getting in the gate, and the only gate to get through is Jesus' gate. So yeah. But yeah, Moses had led the Israelites out of Egypt after God inflicted 10 plagues due to Pharaoh's refusal to let the Israelites go. The Israelites is us, okay? God's children. Bob Marley has a song called Exodus, and he's talking about movement of Jah people. Basically, like, Jah is short for Yah, because remember, they didn't have the letter J back then, but now we do. So Jah, Yah, Joshua, Yahshua, same thing. All right. So, because you got to learn linguistics, you got to learn about letters, you got to learn about how letters came about and all that. And if when you know all of that, then you'll know about Jesus' name and stuff. But movement of Jah people, we know where we're from, we know where we're going, we're leaving. Well, it doesn't say we know where we're going, but I just had to say that we do know where we're going. I know where I'm going, and that's why I'm making this video, because you need to know where you're from so you know where you're going. And you are not from Egypt, you are not an Egyptian. Stop it. Okay. We know where we're from. We're leaving Babylon and going to our fatherland. From across the Red Sea, send us Moses. These are some of the lyrics that's from that Bob Marley song, and I just thought I would throw that out there because it was, recently with the Bob Marley movie coming out and all that, a lot of people were talking about, how much the Bible was included in the Bob Marley video and stuff, especially like Exodus and that album that he had made. But there's arguments back and forth about whether Bob Marley believed in Jesus or not. Okay, but we know that he read the Bible though. So I just thought I would reference that song, because even Bob Marley saying, like, God's people, the Jamaicans, and what was going on during that time with the wars and stuff, and just, racism and everything. So he's saying, like, we're leaving Babylon. And if you read the Bible, Babylon was like a dirty place back then. So he's saying we're going back to our fatherland. And that's what the story in the Bible, Exodus, was about. It was about God taking his people away from them dirty Egyptians. Okay? And while y'all over here wanting to be one of them, I will never understand that. All right? Unless you just confused like I was back then. But it didn't take me long. I got up out of that. God came and said, no, ma'am, you are my child, and you're coming out of that. So what I observed is that Moses asked God to know the difference between Israel and the Egyptians. How will we know the difference between the two? And God had responded and said that, there was plagues, and God sent back, like, they were like going back and forth. God would do something and the Egyptians would try to emulate it and copy it or whatever, because that's what the devil does. He is a copycatter. All right. But but all of his stuff is like bootleg anyway. The devil, when he copies God, all his stuff is bootleg. But yeah, I was saying how those plagues, if you look at that Bible part of the Bible, Exodus, and you read about the plagues, those people that today, that nowadays still want to be those Egyptians, those plagues still follow those people today. Okay. And those of us who are God's children, our houses are marked, and our houses is also represented by our body. Our body is marked. Okay. So just like their bodies are marked, I notice a lot of people who have like Ankh tattoos and stuff, I've very rarely have met one that believed in Jesus. Most of them, they put that symbol on them. That symbol, when they were in a reprobated mind, maybe a demon told them to get that symbol put on them. That symbol is a clear indication of what their beliefs are. But yeah, that event that's known as Passover, that event is known as Passover because the angel of death passed over your door if you had the lamb blood on the door. How can you apply today's lesson? Stop wearing that stinking Ankh symbol. Okay? Stop wearing it. It's offensive and it causes a lot of problems in your life because you're not realizing what you're doing. You're not getting it. It's offensive to God. You don't need to be wearing that symbol. Take it off and apologize to God about it if you have it tattooed on you forever. All right? If I was you, I would be trying to see what I can do to get that jank removed. I would not want that mark on me. That is a clear indication that I was two-faced it and I am a offender of my own creator by wearing symbols of the opponents that he went up against at one point. That's traumatizing. Imagine God creating you his child, and you go and put that symbol on you. No ma'am, no sir, no. Anyway, I'm allergic to it. I can't stand the symbol. Now you guys know. All right. Love you and talk soon. Bye.